I had dinner the other night with one of our members, and he was saying, yeah, Jacob, I don't pay into Social Security. I don't pay into Medicaid. I don't pay into Medicare. And I am paid by the rents that come forward, through my rental properties. And it's perfectly legal. All the maneuvers that
That's wild.
It's wild. I mean, Tom Segura has even talked about all the legal maneuvers he makes on his, your mother's house or whatever it is. Like, it is. Yeah, your mother's house was what that one was on. And he was just like, yeah, these are all legal maneuvers. And then you've got ordinary, quote unquote, millionaires who have either by way of inheritance or by way of how they've built their businesses. The tax code, as they have accumulated their wealth, they have now pierced the veil and seen into a world where they can deduct, maneuver, hide, like whatever it is, to avoid paying taxes.
That's one of the things that's just kind of, I think fucked up about the situation is those maneuvers, and I think we talked about it on one of the previous podcasts. They're not available to the everyday citizen, and if they were, like, if they technically are, but they're hidden. The average American is not seeing how the tax code and stuff works.
Well, yeah, right. I've like tried to quote unquote study this, right? I have no idea how our tax system works.
And if everybody used these maneuvers to hide, shift, put money somewhere else, we wouldn't have governance.
Yes, that's right. Well, and the reality is it's not available to the average person because the average person hasn't accumulated the wealth in order to do the maneuvers that you can do.
Because you need a lawyer, or is it you need like a really sophisticated tax attorney?
Well, there's like the charitable deductions.
Okay.
Like where you can deduct the amount you have given in gifts to an extent, like maybe by way of out of your personal pocket or foundation to negate whatever income you made that year. So that you can report a net loss and then not pay.
But that's still just middle America, right? I mean, we can get into a whole topic about what middle America is because I think everybody, even some of these patriotic millionaires, might say, I'm upper middle class. They might not say that they're upper class. But regardless of that, I think, but I'll use myself as an example. Like my wife and I, we have one commercial property. We have a small business. We don't make money at all, but
you cover costs.
We cover costs, but having an LLC and then working with nonprofits, like there's stuff that opens up to you that we could use. But man, I'm like Daniel said, I'm trying to look and see and where it can work, and it's not just layman's terms. Like here you go, you got to have money to pay somebody that knows the ropes.
That's right. And Bob Lord and I get the privilege of. Let me just disclaim, I am not a tax law expert. I am trying to be. I made a B-, I think, in my tax law class at UNC. Shout out to the Tar Heels. Shout out to Kathleen Thomas.
That qualifies you to comment on some Reddit forums, though.
That's right. I could. I would rather lurk on the Reddit forums and just read.
In the shadows.
And, just be a hovering intel officer.
I'm a voyeur, too. It's okay.
Yeah, it's wild. But, look, I gave you two. Look, I'll show you the two books here that they put out.
Yeah.
Pay the People. I don't know what camera I'm looking at. Hello, cameras.
Now you got that one and
right
that
here.
one.
Let's do that one. Yeah.
Excellent. Pay the People, Tax the Rich. You can pick these up. Tax the Rich talks about the broken tax system.
Okay.
It's honestly a cheat code if you want to figure out how to make a fortune and hide a bunch of money. There's also that. But
might be taking that home tonight.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a call to
tax season.
Tax season. And Pay the People talks about, we're pushing for the idea. I mean, we dabble in modern monetary theory. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
Enlighten us.
I'm trying to remember.
Oh, you don't have to either. I know B-.
I feel like I read the Wikipedia page at one point in time.
It's essentially, one of the theses is the deficit doesn't matter.
Right. Yes.
We're at such a
right.
point to where we are essentially in a standoff where China relies on us to buy the cheap goods they produce in order to keep their economy going.
Right. Everybody's interlocked. We have this really
the global economy, that ship has sailed. Anybody that thinks we can stop that, they're fooling themselves.
Right. I know. You know what? And it fires me up when I don't understand why Democrats haven't figured out how to message around that, particularly with the label of globalist that gets thrown at Democrats to keep some of that base in fear of like the American identity is going to go away by these Democrats who are globalists. But man, if I was a globalist and I wanted to subvert American power in the country and stance, the first thing I would do would be to start a monetary system that would be digital and undermine the U.S. like the American dollar as the reserve system. I mean, that's the one.
That sounds like Bitcoin.
Yeah, right.
Sounds like crypto.
It sounds like crypto, right? I mean, if you want to,
it's blockchain, bro. It's safe.
Yeah. And I
think crypto is just astrology for frat bros.